We're ready to go. I now call this audio-video conference regular meeting of the Board of Trustees for HISD to order. We do have a quorum, and pursuant to Governor Abbott's temporary suspension of open meetings laws, this will be an audio-video meeting. Our first item is a moment of silence. Thank you. Now we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance with Mr. Shane Schubert.
And please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you, Shane. Next, we're moving on to awards and recognitions. Item 2A, the Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas First Award. Presenter, Mr. Shane Schubert.
Thank you, Mr. President, trustees, Dr. Cavazos, administration, and audience. The Harlingen Consolidated Independent School District received a rating from the Texas Education Agency's Schools Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas for the 2019-2020 school year. The district received a score of 98 out of a possible 100, resulting in a rating of superior or a letter rating of A. The district's rating is based on an analysis of staff and student data and the budgetary and factual financial data for the 2019 fiscal year. All areas of the district's financial management were reviewed according to 15 indicators. The primary objective of Schools First is to achieve quality performance in the management of the school's district's financial resources, a goal made more significant due to the complexity of accounting associated with the Texas school finance system. Tonight, we want to recognize Mr. Julio Cavazos and his team for their outstanding work. Joining us this evening is Administrator for Business Services, Ramon Mendoza, Terry Martinez, Director of Payroll, I believe, Director of Accounting, Ida Ambris, Purchasing Director, Kimberly Anderson, and Textbook Coordinator, Records Management Officer, Tom Hopkins. Let's give them all a round of applause. And I have a certificate we were presenting to Dr. Cavazos and his team.
To Julio Cavazos.
Yes. Yes, Julio Cavazos. He's not doctor yet. Sorry.
The doctor of money.
There you go.
That was the year before.
Can I say something real quick? I do want to say thanks for this recognition, and I do want to say, we have a great business staff that does all the work, and really all the credit, for these financial ratings over the years goes to them. I really do appreciate their hard work effort in, keeping financial transparency to our taxpayers. So thank you very much.
Mr. President, could I ask a question?
Yes, Dr. Pettis.
Well, first of all, I just want to congratulate Julio and your exemplary team again for y'all's exemplary leadership. As always, you guys are amazing, and I think this award is well deserved. And it seems like deja vu. It just seems like we did this last week, or maybe we did. I don't know, but it just seems like we get these all the time. And it's like, but I do want to ask you. I know you don't even put them up on your walls anymore because you don't even have enough space on your walls, but I would suggest maybe you switch offices with Dr. Cavazos. He's got a lot of space on his walls over there, and perhaps you could finally display all your awards there and that kind of stuff. I think it'd be kind of nice. And at some point in time, we needed a bigger administrative building because of all these awards. But
Consider it done, sir. We'll move them on.
All right, now they're out of hand. Mr. President, you want to get control of this nonsense over here? So.
Thank you, Dr. Pettis. Did you have further comments, or?
No. No.
I just want to echo what Dr. Pettis said. And, we're so lucky and blessed to have Julio as part of HCISD because, our standards in academics are second to none, and the talk is always on the classrooms and a lot of activities that are going on, but like we've said before, and we'll say it again, it starts with being financially stable to be able to do everything that we do. You know, hiring the teachers, maintaining the teachers, budgeting the money when we're building buildings, and so you do an amazing job, you and your team, Julio, and I don't know what we would do without you and your team, because you and your team makes HCISD financially stable like Nolan said. It just seems that we expect it, you know. We expect it because you've been producing for the past, I've been on the board going on 16 years, and we've gotten these rewards every single year. So, you know, it's one thing to get it one or two times, but to consistently get it year in, year out, that's hard. Yeah. To stay on top is difficult. So thank you, you and the team. You guys did an amazing job and continue to do an amazing job.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President. Thank you, Javier. Mr. Powers?
I just want to echo what Javier just said. You know, Julio and his staff keeps doing it every year after year. But what's even more impressive is they get better and better. I mean, last year, I understand you had a 94, and this year you have a 98. And I mean, it's just, you grow and increase every year, and congratulations for you and your staff. Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Powers.
Mr. President, may I just add two things.
Go ahead,
A special
Dr.
thank you to Ida, a special thank you to Kimberly, a special thank you to Julio, your leadership, each and every team member. I know that it's not a big team, that makes it sound like it's excessive. It's a strong and mighty team, streamlined team. But what is so important is that without you all, we don't have the confidence, our community doesn't have the confidence in our operations. And so your work is so essential. It's the foundation. And so thank you for bringing all that credibility to HCISD, and then everything else just flourishes right out of that. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Mr. President, I would like to, may I say something as well, please?
Mr. Spurrier, go
I
ahead.
just want to say, Julio, to you and to your staff, you are heroes among heroes. We understand that what you do is complex and complicated every single day. And we thank you for that from the bottom of our hearts. I cannot help but project into the next year, Julio, and we're beginning already to hear such serious concerns about the budgets throughout the state of Texas and throughout the country because of the pandemic that we've all been experiencing. And now more than ever, not only do we need financial integrity, we need financial intelligence. And we're so grateful that you are with us on this journey because things are really getting, I think, to move into a level of difficulty that we have seldom experienced. And so we need all of your expertise, we need the foundational support of your staff, and we need every idea and suggestion and all the wisdom that you've got to keep us stable and to allow us to move forward during very difficult and challenging times. So thank you. Hero among heroes.
Thank you very much.
If I may add, Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
I want to echo, of course, what everybody said, but at the same time, what Ms. Fleury mentioned was critical. You know, if I were to have to choose a team, in this situation of unknowns, we have an amazing team, and I think we're going to have to be very creative with accounting now, moving forward, and being proactive. I think I have studied some accounting and business. I'm not good at it at all, but hey, there's patterns, right? And guess what? There's a whole new system in place, and I have faith in these guys, and that to have this recognition at this time, of course, is amazing. And we need to have faith in you, and definitely have faith in your team. What an amazing team, and congratulations for this award. I know that I have the whole board, as I mentioned, have faith in you, so thank you for being part of this team.
Oh, thank you. And again, I do have an amazing team that, you know, they all, do know what they're doing, so I really do appreciate their hard efforts.
Thank you. And Julio, I'll just, everything each board member has said is, pretty much what we all feel, from the faith we have in your team to the expectations that we have of your team. But I think one of the things that I really wanted to reiterate was that confidence that the community has in us as a school district and as a board. A lot of it starts with you and your office and the way they see us as fiscally responsible in this community, our school district. So for that, I want to thank you. I know there's many times when I thank the teachers for making our jobs easier as representatives of the school district and the community, as advocates, ambassadors of HISD. You make our job easier, and your team, everyone that's in this meeting, you make our jobs easier as well from that aspect of the business side. Because if there's trust, if there's confidence, if there's faith in the community in our school district, it's because we've always been transparent, we've always been fiscally responsible, and that starts and ends with you guys. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Ms. Sanchez.
And Julio, thank you for wanting to be with us another 15 years here at HCISD.
That's the only part he laughed at. Come on, Julio.
All right. We'll move on to item number 3, approval of minutes. The August 11th, 2020 regular board meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Powers,
Second motion.
second by Dr. Muniz. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to item number 4, the approval of the consent calendar. Do I have a
Move
motion?
approval of the consent calendar as presented.
We have a motion by Dr. Pettis,
Second.
a second by Mr. Powers. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Move on to item number 5, public comments for agenda topics. Sonia, do we have any public comments?
No, sir, we don't.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 6, public audience for non-agenda topics. Do we have any speakers there?
No, sir, we don't.
Thank you, Sonia. Moving on to item number 7, matters relating to transformation and school support. We have a transformation teaching and learning committee report.
You're breaking up pretty bad. You're breaking up pretty bad. I don't know if
Jerry, can you mute yourself, Jerry? Jerry, can you mute your microphone?
I can do it.
Thank you.
Okay. Let me read that line item again, and if I break up, please let me know. Item number 7, matters relating to transformation and school support. Item A, transforming teaching and learning committee report by Dr. Alisa Noyola.
Thank you, Mr. President, board members, Dr. Cavazos, senior team and administration. So last week at our September Transforming Teaching and Learning Committee meeting, we presented 2 topics, but really they both were regarding our asynchronous learning plan. So as you all are aware, we had to submit to the state in what delivery method we would be providing instruction while in remote learning. And so after much studying, we determined that the most flexible plan for our students to access their learning was going to be through an asynchronous method. And so just for our audience that is sitting out there, asynchronous is really a delivery method where our students are engaging with their learning materials in a self-paced format. And so within that self-paced format, they're interacting intermittently with their teacher through an electronic device of some sort. And so within that presentation, we wanted to give our board members a view of what does asynchronous instruction look like. And so our presentation was conducted by Lori Romero and Joseph Villarreal, our assistant superintendents for elementary and secondary education. And so they focused that presentation around what does a day in the life of a student look like as they are participating in asynchronous instruction. And so within that presentation, they talked a little bit about what does it look like in core and elective classes, what does direct instruction look like, what does it mean to do self-paced, what do the interactions with teachers look like for social emotional learning, and what about interventions? So when a student is struggling, what does that look like if we're sitting in a remote setting? And so as part of that presentation, They also shared a schedule. What does an elementary student's schedule look like from the time that they wake up in the morning and log in to a high school student on the other end of the spectrum? What does their schedule look like? And so they spent some time around discussing what students would be doing during that time. One of the great pieces that we highlighted was what happens during asynchronous time. And so as a student is going through their schedule, they will have very defined points in time where they will actually zoom in for live instruction. So a teacher may determine, today I need to have some solid amount of time because there's new learning happening. Once that instruction happens, then students can move off and start working on their self-paced activities, assignments that they may have been given during that time. And so we spent some time around that. Today, we actually had an opportunity, obviously today was our first day of school, so we actually had an opportunity to go out there and see whether the plans and the outlines that we had defined through our asynchronous plan were being put into effect. And I got to give you my perspective. I had an opportunity to visit one of the high schools, and I happened to zoom into a class during asynchronous instruction. So I hadn't really paid attention to what portion of the schedule it was. I went and I had an opportunity to zoom in. And so I zoom in and I only see the teacher and 3 students. And so my thought was, oh my gosh, I got worried because I thought, oh my gosh, where are the rest of the students? Were they not able to log in? What was going on? And actually during that asynchronous time, what was happening is students were logging in and having conversations with the teacher. The teacher was giving them some individualized time, talking to them about where they could go in and access all of their materials. Students were asking questions. I had a young lady that asked her questions. She said, okay, I got it. And she zoomed off, and he started speaking to the other 2 students, and then another student popped in. So very fluid, but very natural. And so what excites me about that is the opportunity for small group instruction, for intervention the students are going to have when they have that flexibility to seek out assistance during this time. So I was talking to our teacher, and he said, no, actually all of the students zoomed in during this asynchronous time, and I was able to dialogue, have a little bit more individualized opportunities to help them and assist them. So just really excited at the opportunities that this will provide for us to provide students some really one-on-one assistance intervention time. So we will continue to monitor that. We had an opportunity to look at elementary and middle school as well. So very similar experiences. A few hiccups here and there today, which we certainly expected, but just the amount of work and effort that our teachers are putting in. I have no doubt that in the next few days we will be zooming along, pardon the pun, with this whole process. I just see a lot of excitement on our students and our teachers just in this opportunity to get back to school and get moving along. The second presentation, we've talked a lot about core contents and so forth, but we also had an opportunity at Tuesday's presentation to hear about some of our co-curricular programs and what would those look like in asynchronous instruction. And so we had Rob Davies, Ronnie Rios, Raul Alvarez, and Leanne Inns, who are our directors and coordinators for a number of our programs, come in and talk about what does asynchronous instruction look like in athletic programs, what does it look like in our music, in our theater programs, in CTE, because those are very different. They have a lot of hands-on interactions and those types of things. So what does it look like in an asynchronous program? And so all of these individuals kind of talked from their perspective and their programs what asynchronous instruction would look like. They also gave the board and our audience an opportunity to hear about what is the latest information coming from the state with regard to the next few months and what those programs will look like. We're really excited at one of the things that was spoken was about just the opportunities that actually going into remote instruction provided our students. And so, for example, Leanne Inns talked about that moving into remote instruction and these Zoom type of opportunities have really given more opportunities for our students to participate in even more competitions. Whereas previously they had to fly and drive and really leave the valley to be able to access some of these premier competitions that are out there, they are now in a position to be able to access them from home and have students attending throughout the country. And so, a lot of great opportunities and that we have actually been able to take advantage of as we've moved into remote instruction. Heard the same thing from our music people, having an opportunity to bring experts, because now they don't have to drive, they don't have to fly, they can just as easily Zoom in and provide quality opportunities for our students out there. So we continue to focus on providing our students the best experience possible as they go into remote instruction, and so we'll continue to monitor that. I do want to share with you that we will be submitting our asynchronous plan to the state, and so at our next board meeting, we will be bringing forward that plan for approval from our board. Dr. Reiniger chairs our Transforming Teaching and Learning Committee meeting, so I'll turn it over to her.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mayola, and what a great summary. From the meeting itself, it was very clear the level of attention to detail from the whole team under your leadership, under Dr. Cavazos' leadership. There's just tremendous attention to detail, and that's really what it takes, right? Working through each one of those schedules and seeing how the kids, when can we give them a break and when can we make sure they're learning, and just an amazing amount of work. For the public audience, I think it's really terrific the refinement HCISD has done between last spring, over the summer, until now. The fact that we have very specific learning platforms for elementary, middle, and high school. From my perspective, the fact that our high school students are learning on a platform that will carry them into college is, that's going to be easy. that transition is now easy. The fact that both in the curricular and the extracurricular, no one is waiting. There's an absolute dedication to finding a way, and we're providing the very best day one, right? And so it's very exciting to see that come to life. In the extracurricular activities, I think that it was very clear that that rather than, maybe we have to wait to figure this out, or we have to see when we come back together, it's like, no, we have absolutely more opportunities for our students happening right now. And the extracurricular in particular just really brought that to life. So very, very exciting time. And we all know, and as a community, we have to know that there's going to be things we're working out, right? There's things that are going to happen, but we will absolutely be able to get on top of those and handle those. There's hotlines, there's a variety of things you all have put in place, and that's why, because of the attention to detail. And so that allows you to handle the unexpected, because the expected is well planned. So congratulations to all of you on that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Reiniger. This morning, we visited some campuses as the school year got started, as you said, Dr. Nola, and everybody looked at mid-season form, and a lot of what you all explained, not just last week, but you have been explaining to the board or going over in these committee meetings with the board, we got to see it firsthand finally play out. And I forgot who I told. I said they were in mid-season form, to use a sports analogy. Yeah. And it's exciting. There were some glitches, and that's to be expected. But everything that you all have been telling us, to be able to see it today, to be able to zoom in with some of the little ones, especially. I was at Lee Means this morning, and I popped into a couple of Zooms with kinder and pre-kinders, and They were there, bright-eyed. I asked them if they had drank their coffee, and they just laughed. But, it's exciting. It's different, but it's exciting, and I just want to thank you all for all the work that you all have been doing for the past few months to get ready, not just for this day today, but for the rest of the school year. So thank you all for that.
President, I just,
Yes, sir?
I find it pretty cool that we're going to approve our asynchronous plan at our next board meeting synchronously. I would ask maybe Alicia to look into the possibility of approving the asynchronous plan in an asynchronous fashion, if possible. I don't get an answer right now, but if there's anybody that can figure it out, it's you. But thank you. Great job as always. I'm really impressed with all the work and all the planning, and kudos to you and your team.
Mr. Hymas, may I make one comment, please?
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Thank you. I just want to say that Art and I were talking in the spring, and he made a great comment, and I've thought of it throughout all of the beautiful conversation that you all have been having right now. And it was, if you thought we were great before, just watch us now. And I think that is so true. And the second thing is, I thought that the picture that we saw of the little Nunez children, and starting out the new year with the sign, and that Mommy was on there as a teacher as well. I thought that was one of the most beautiful things I've seen in many, many a year. It was so special, and it shows what partnerships can do and how grateful we are for the partnerships of the families that are sharing this journey with us. It was certainly unexpected, unpredicted, and undesired. But we are really going at full speed now, zooming, as Dr. Noyola says, and I'm so proud. I'm so deeply proud. And if you thought we were creative and doing things innovatively and as well as we could before, just watch us now. Thanks to the help of the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. All right, we'll move on to item number 8, matters relating to business services. Approval of resolution to adopt the tax rate. Mr. Julio Cavazos.
Thank you, Mr. Hymas, Dr. Cavazos, board members. Agenda item 8A is a resolution to adopt our tax rate. This year, we're happy to bring forth another reduction to our tax rate. We're recommending a tax rate of $1.17.23 per $100 worth of valuations, and that's $2.43 for maintenance operation and 14.8 cents for interest and sinking. This is a reduction of 4.4 cents from where we were last year. Over a 2-year period, it's about a 14.5 cent reduction, and this is all due to the compression of our tax rate through House Bill 3. This year, the state was projecting to have an increase in property values of 4.1%. We're at 7.51% in property value increase, so that allowed us to compress our tax rate a little bit more. And the way that it works is we reduce our tax rate, and so we lose local revenues, but the state supports that with, subsidizes that with state revenues. So it's a revenue neutral for us, we reduce, but it's a great impact to our taxpayer. So we're happy to recommend a tax rate of $1.17.23 for this fiscal year.
Mr. President, I move for approval of the tax rate resolution.
We have a motion by Mr. Powers,
Second the motion.
second by Dr. Bettis. Any further discussion?
Yes, Mr. President, could I ask Julio to explain again when we refinanced some of the bonds just earlier this year? Gosh, when was that, Julio?
It was back in June, May or June.
Okay. Could you please explain again to the board and the community the impact that had on our debt service?
Sure, so-
And yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So by refunding our bonds, which is more, it's like refinancing a home, we're actually to get a better interest rate on our bonds for the remainder of the term, and the ones that we refunded had 20 years left, so we're able to reduce that interest rate to the tune of a savings of about, off the top of my head, about $13.2 million over the course of 20 years. So what that's going to allow us to do is reduce our tax rate as we move forward. Now, there's no decrease in INS this year because we had to do an extra debt payment, but next year, there'll probably be a reduction to our interest and sinking fund as well.
So yeah, that's my point, that there will be at some point an impact on the tax rate because of that refinancing. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, wonderful. Again, I wanted to applaud you, Julio, for this great news. I know a lot of it stems from House Bill 3. However, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier in terms of not only integrity, but just the brilliance of our financing and the way we are so prudent about spending our money wisely, not incurring, recurring expenditures unwisely, putting our money where it matters most, and when we need to do one-offs and one-time things, we do that without, penalizing future taxpayers. And so very, very wise, I think, prudent spending of our money, accompanied with, just everywhere you look, just the efficiencies that we have in running this operation, this incredible operation. What's our budget, total budget now? 220
It's
million?
actually over $250 million a year.
$250 million budget. And we just, everywhere you look, whether it's efficiencies in our utilities and our lighting, our, air conditions, I mean, just everywhere you look, we're just being smart in how we run our operations. And then on top of that, with the amazing things happening in each of the campuses and the classrooms, we're able to, see some growth as well, or at least maintenance of our ADA, when a lot of other public school districts are seeing significant declines. And so, just everywhere you look, it's just a great, just a great culture of continuous improvement, of just high performing at every level, everywhere you look. And so, this is, I think, great news for the community, great news for the taxpayers, but it's a reflection of strong leadership at every level in the school district. So thank you, Julio, for the great news.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pettis. If no further comments, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Thanks again, Julio, and to the rest of the team. Moving on to matters relating to district operations, we have a Facilities Committee report by Mr. Oscar Tapia.
Thank you, President Heinrich, members of the board, Dr. Cavazos. On September 1st, we had a Facilities Committee meeting. First item we talked about was a presentation of a proposed project in the city of Harlingen for a pedestrian project for sidewalks and a pedestrian bridge related to Vela Middle School. Would start from the neighborhood south of our Vela Middle School, and head north all the way to Business 83. And the city's asking if we could do a cost share on the sidewalk where we pay for all the materials. They would provide the labor and the equipment. And so I gave a presentation on that, showing a map of the proposed project. Then I presented the CRE program, Treasure Hills. I gave an update on phase 2 that the old structure has been completely demolished, including the foundation. They demolished the parking lot, the old parking lot, and they're installing all the underground infrastructure for storm drains, electrical, gas, anything that's underground they're installing right now. And they're working on the temporary offices in the 5th grade wing, which will hold the administration temporarily until we finish the new wing, office administration wing. Gave an update on Brandon phase 3, which is the interior courtyard. They've already done the painting of the interior walls. They're putting in brick pavers, and we'll finish it off with a landscape and sprinkler system, and I'll present that at the next meeting. Give an update on the elementary multi-purpose building new wall panels. The last one they were working on was Rodriguez Elementary, and it's complete, so that all 4 schools under that phase have been completed. I then gave an update on the early college UCRGV campus. Of course, we had the groundbreaking on September 1st. That went very well. And the contractors, again, also doing a lot of site work, underground infrastructure, and it's starting to pour several of the large slabs. They already poured one big section. They're getting ready, prepping the second section for a concrete pour. And then I gave an update on the UCRGV Transition Academy. That one's also groundbreaking. We did the earth excavation, and they're starting to build it back up with a new lift with the new soil that they're bringing in to stabilize the ground. The Theater Fine Arts, I gave an update on all the work going on in the interior. The new curtain wall is going up by the dining hall. The dance floor is being, with the dance room with the mirrors and the floor. The robotics room, window openings by the hallway, and the black box that we painted, the ceiling and the walls black and installed black vinyl tile for that fine arts program. And I also gave an update on the marquees. The performing arts marquee is completed, and now they're starting on the theater marquee for that school. And finally, we ended the meeting with Julio Cavazos giving an update on the construction funds and financial reports relating to all the theory projects. That was pretty much the end of my presentation, and of course, Mr. Powers is our facilities chair, and I'll turn it over to him for any questions or comments you may have. Mr. Powers?
Well, I just want to add, I want to compliment Shane and his staff for doing an outstanding job at the groundbreaking for the early college high school. It was really a terrific event. Eladio and Nolan and Dr. Cavazos represented us extremely well, very inspiring comments. It was really, really wonderful. Y'all did a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The only other thing I'd like to comment on is the project over at that you talked about with conjunction with the city. I think it's a great project. The only people that really use that facility are our students. And I mean, it opened my eyes as to what a safety problem we've had out there for a long time. Yeah. And I'm really tickled that the city is going to go in with us on a partnership, and we're going to build this all the way to Old 83, which will really be a positive for the kids. And like I said, it's quite a safety. I mean, crossing that bridge, there's no safety lane or bicycle lane or anything, and they've been doing it for years. So great job, Oscar. And when will that, it'll be on our agenda next month, hopefully.
So, Mr. President, we're actually looking at a possible special board meeting for the 17th, which is next Thursday. And so we'll check your calendars to see if you're available, because on that day, which is a Thursday, we also want to consider the groundbreaking for the Transition Academy that is ready for that groundbreaking ceremony. So we'll check your calendar, but we're looking at a special board meeting on the 17th, where we will discuss the gradual reentry of students after this 4 weeks of remote, and looking at the criteria for the next 4 weeks and our plans for that. We still have a lot of work to do in that area, but we are going to need a special board meeting, and that's when we'll probably bring the project forward.
That's all the comments I have. Again, Oscar, thank you for you and your staff. Y'all do a terrific job. Thank you.
Mr. President, may I ask a question, please?
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
I certainly concur that this is all critical, and I'm very grateful that it's been brought forward in terms of being able to provide a safer environment for our students. It raises in my mind the question of, I know, Dr. Cavazos, that we have a safety audit done periodically, but I think it would be helpful for us at some point, perhaps during teaching transformation meeting and/or a board meeting, to be given a refresher course, perhaps very briefly, on what are any other existing safety concerns throughout the district, operationally speaking, and what is the plan going forward to fix them? Because as Greg said, this has been there for a long time, and fortunately, we had staff that brought it forward, but I think it would really be helpful for us as a board to be aware so that we can be supportive of all of these things and really feel that we have 100% coverage of all of the safety issues that might have been brought forward in a safety audit or something you're aware of that perhaps a safety audit missed. So, that's just a request I would like to make, please.
Thank you, Ms. Fleury. If there are no further comments, we'll adjourn now to close our executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code Sections 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, and 551.082, the Open Meetings Act, for the following purposes: discuss employment of teachers and other professional staff. We are now adjourned to closed session. Okay, we are back. We are going to now reconvene into open session for action on matters discussed in executive session. Item A, consider employment of teachers and other professional staff.
I move that we approve the recommendations of staff.
Have a motion by Mr. Powers,
Second the motion.
Second.
second by Dr. Pettis. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.
Hold on, we're still